Hi,
Hello,
I'm Julian.
and I am Tom.
We are Team Binge. We are here to talk about Smoke, Season 1, Episode 6. This one was called Manhood. Gross. And Tom, this show keeps getting bonkers and bonkers and bonkers. I'm currently sitting in our very classy podcast studio. The floor's covered in gasoline. But no big deal. I'm just going to hang out. I'm certainly not going to run away or do anything. Tom, how did you enjoy episode 6 of Smoke?
Man, I don't know what to make of the show anymore. I felt like so many character decisions were just bananas and off the wall, and we had theory crafted about some of this maybe being in Dave's book. But I don't know what's real anymore. I feel like I'm watching. This may be a dated reference. I'm watching season 2 of Yellow Jackets with my wife right now because it just came out on Netflix. I feel like that show, which is also Cuckoo Bananas, makes more sense than this season does so far of this show. I don't know what to make heads and tails of, but I guess overall I'm still enjoying it. But I kind of want and need answers pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I think the issue is we like to solve things, and this show is so unreliable. Mm-hmm. And maybe by the end, it'll be like, oh, but there's almost a sloppiness to it that makes it hard to guess. Because right. To your point, we theory crafted like, hey, what's in Dave's head? What's in Dave's book? Well, there's definitely parts in this episode where you're like, okay, that's book. Like he's acting the hero, he's doing. But then the way this episode finished, you're like, wait, is this book or is this real? I mean, he's so excited. So I don't know. It's I'm enjoying it, but it is just off the rails. So I'm enjoying it. Once again, it's the outer range of arson shows. That's what we're looking at here.
Well, and we had talked about before, like, if a show doesn't land the plane, like, that's okay as long as the ride was fun. And I would argue, to your point, that's kind of how Outer Range was. Like, maybe they didn't land the plane, but the journey was fun. This one I almost feel like I don't know how they can land the plane in a way that's going to be satisfying for the journey thus far. I could be wrong. I'm going to let this go all the way through. But I felt like some of this stuff and, like, all the acting and cinematography is still great, but the writing is just so bad, and I don't know if it's purposeful or not.
I disagree with bad. I just think it's illogical. I'll say that.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
There's a lot of leaps that have to be taken, and if you can shut off your brain and just enjoy the pictures and sounds, then it's a good old time.
Yeah.
But let's start with the happiest moment of this episode, which, as we ended last, Dave was in a car accident, which didn't kill him, apparently. He just has a limp now. And a couple of bruises. But what he lost in the crash was he lost his marriage and his wife, Ashley. She's like, I'm gone. The old hospital bed divorce, which we've all gone through.
Yeah.
I do like him playing for sympathy. He's like, I could have been killed. Why aren't you being nice to me? But, okay, and to your writing point, she says here, like, she's really upset at him. And I thought maybe she would be upset because she learned about, like, his carousing or carousing with his ex-wife, but no, she says something like, you have caused like a deep wound like to both me and Emmett. And I was like, when did we see him? I mean, he like lost his temper in the kitchen at one point, but other than that, I felt like he's been pretty good to them. No? Did I miss something?
This show started with them in like this very loving relationship, and all the series has shown us in terms of their turmoil is her calling out his really bad writing. So maybe just as a librarian, she just can't take it anymore now that she's finally seen his writing.
It's a leap she can't take.
Yeah. We have it, and we as an audience have seen the adultery in the last episode, but she does not know of it. And like she comes in hard saying, I wish you were dead. Like I heard about this crash and I wish you were dead. Like this right away just took me out. And I'm like, the writing just seemed really goofy here. And that's where I'm like, well, okay, if the writing just seems this goofy, is it because this is kind of story Dave? And then we get this little bit where he walks up to the mirror and sees another version of himself. Like, I don't know what to make of it.
Yes, it was very strange. Also, there's the moment where like he realizes she's serious and wants him dead and wants a divorce, and he turns into Gollum. Like he goes from Smeagol to Gollum and just swears at her. And I was like, man, that was. I mean, great acting by T. Eggy, of course. He loves to hit that high note, and by that I mean go crazy. But yeah. I was confused by, and part of me is kind of like, so. Is T. Eggy actually what Dave Goodson looks like? Or is this his projection of himself? And they kind of almost show it in the mirror, because in the mirror, he's not nearly as square-jawed, good-looking. So I'm wondering if like we are getting just so much of this through an obscure lens of the author, which is Dave Goodson, and how he sees himself. Does that, because in the narration of his book, he's always like whatever his character's name is like, oh, so good looking and so in charge. And so now I'm wondering if the whole show is just messing with that perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's exactly how I took it too. Like when he first saw the mirror, I'm like, oh, it's an older version of himself. But then as he gets close, it's just like a more disheveled, like less beautifully coiffed hair, just not quite as handsome as T. Eggy is, which is challenging to make that man not handsome. But they managed to do it. Yeah, that's exactly where my mind went, is what we saw in the reflection is like the quote unquote real Dave, and everything we've seen in the show is the book version of him being more suave and debonair. And like when the nurse kind of enters the room, he does this thing. He's like, I've got an arsonist to catch. And it's playing that music. He needed sunglasses to take off while he did it. But yeah, like, and the show is really pushing it harder on us that this is not real, right? Like with the music cues and some other stuff that he does later in the episode as well.
Right. And this is where we find out, I don't know that we knew he carried a gun. Maybe I've missed it in other episodes, but the nurse hands him his gun in a Ziploc bag, as one does.
SOP for hospital, gun control.
Sure. It's got to be a clear bag. I'm sure people don't know this, but you can take a gun through an airport as long as it's in a clear bag and it's under 3 ounces. That's going to get us in trouble, please. So I don't know that I want to go down this avenue, but if you'll recall, Tom, in this show, the book, The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, has been brought up. It was given to Emmett. Like, it's been brought up in multiple episodes. And I found myself, I had read it before, I went and revisited it. And what I find interesting, and I don't know if the show is smart enough to make this parallel, but that book is about a guy that went to Vietnam in real life, fought in Vietnam, came back. But the book he wrote is like taking some truth, and then it's a fiction, but it's you can tell he's taken truth and fiction and he's mixed them together. And some elements of it are like they just wouldn't happen in reality. So it's almost fantastical in some of the stories he tells about people like in Vietnam and fighting the Vietnam War. And so there are definitely parallels between how that book is written with like a narrator that is taking real and fantasy and mixing it but pitching it to you as real, and what Dave Goodson and this show is doing. And so I don't know if they're trying to be that clever, but I returned to that book and there are a lot of parallels with how this story is told. And so I've got to believe it's purposeful, but also this show is cuckoo bananas, so who knows?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that book back, because I know we had talked about it briefly, but I think that makes all the sense in the world of mixing what is real versus what is fantasy, and the way it's presented in a book is much different than how we see it in the show, because, like I said, this is why it's difficult to bring this into a show, because we as viewers feel like tricked, and they got to find a way to be able to make it still entertaining without like just tricking the audience, or the last episode is like, oh, he was dead the whole time, or something like that. Like, it needs to pay off.
Right. So some shows, what they would do is they would like change a camera aspect ratio or like a color, so you would know, okay, this is fantasy, this is real. This show isn't doing this. Like, our only clues are essentially T. Eggy. Like, if he is the man in charge and like he's playing the hero, we know it's fantasy. But it's confusing because sometimes he's just playing that way in real life, or seemingly so. So once again, interested in all that. We do find he's just released from the hospital because they need the bed. I thought that was very funny. a little shot at our healthcare system. But the quick cut is then to Calderon talking with Chief. Calderon seems to be living in such a world where she didn't know this other arson took place where 2 people died, the HR guy from Coop and his, I believe, a doctor wife. And she's like, oh, six containers of gasoline. That's not his MO. We've got a copycat. And then they like yada yada this where they're like, oh, we think it's this guy because she had a malpractice case. And Calderon immediately is like, oh, okay, so not our guy. I was like, these people are the worst detectives in the world. What are we doing here?
Well, they've set her up to be like more of the competent, smart detective. And then she so quickly says like, oh, it's just a copycat, like no follow up. And I think the reasoning behind that is just so they are not doing the same investigation that Dave is doing in this entire episode. Like that seems to be the only real reason for it. But I agree. Calderon should at least set up some sort of like, I don't know, Google search alert. So if like fire comes up, she gets a notification because she probably should have been aware.
But then what happens when there's a fire sale, Tom? You know, are you supposed to get all the women and children because it's a fire sale? Anyways.
There's your Arrested Development quote. Drink.
There you go, drink. Okay. Dave visits the burning house. He's the grizzled veteran who, the look the other arson investigator gives him, like, what is this guy's deal?
Oh, this guy again.
Yeah, I know. And so Dave's limping around and Dave's like, sounds like you got it all handled here. They give him a suspect. He doesn't seem to care. They're like, it's Malcolm Allen Brewster. 3 names. He's probably assassinated a president. But this was all very strange. But I just like how everyone in Dave's world does not like him. I find that very funny.
Well, again, seeing it through the lens of like they're presenting it as him being like suave and like, hey, I remembered your wife's name. Look at me, I'm a good guy. But then like the other character's perspective, like, yeah, you're kind of weird and a creep kind of deal. And you mentioned it earlier though, but I thought it was interesting that we are getting this massive limp from Dave here in this episode, where we had seen in like the previous fires, the person that was on video had a limp. So it just seems weird. Like obviously the timing doesn't align, but it just seems goofy that now this character is very drastically presented with a limp.
Here's what I found the show doing in this episode. They were pointing so hard towards Dave and that all the cops and even eventually the chief thinks it's Dave, that my TV brain, you and I having watched, I don't know, billions of hours, are immediately like, okay, so it's not Dave, because the show is laying it on so thick, and we've still got 3 more episodes. Incredible. That it's like they can't lay it on this thick. There's going to be a twist where like Dave, despite the book, despite all these other things, like it's not him. This limp is also going to add to, like, they're going to look at the they're going to bring this back. They're going to look at the camera and they're going to be like Dave's limping again. So if it is Dave, I think I'm going to be disappointed because I'm anticipating a twist. And if the twist doesn't come, shame on this show. That's how I feel.
I'm with you.
So the man from that fire was the HR guy from Coops. We also get our good friend Freddie, who is missing. He didn't show up for his shift. And Freddie, what's Freddie's buddy's name? The guy that he works with? Do you know?
I don't know.
Should we just call him Jeff? I don't remember what his name is.
Jeff works, sure. But he looks like a Jeff.
Yeah, he looks like a Jeff. But like Freddie called, and he's like, I'm not coming in. Coops has no honor. And Jeff should not be friends with Freddie. I feel bad for Freddie. Like, Jeff has like no awareness of who's dangerous in his life, and it plays out in this episode.
Well, and we'll get to it, I guess, later, but like Jeff's reactions to when Freddie kind of goes full cuckoo bananas, and even like Deborah the salon, I think it's Deborah, right? The salon lady at the end.
No, her name is also Jeff, Tom.
Okay.
Jeff, the salon lady, and Jeff, the coworker. I don't know why the show didn't give him different names.
Like, yeah, their reactions to him are just, I still don't get it. Like, I don't know why she keeps going back to him when he's been a creep. I don't know why this guy, Jeff, is keep going back to him when he's being a creep, or even like leaving situations when a guy's being a creep. Yeah. There is some cool cinematography here, though, like when Freddy is on the phone and there's just like a black background, but you see like fire sparks kind of slowly falling on him. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's a great effect. It also makes me think Freddy is dangerous, and I don't want to. If you were sitting next to someone and there were just sparks kind of hovering around them, Tom, I feel like you might be like, "Oh, that guy didn't go to Hogsworth. He went to one of the other mean schools." Like
Hogsworth, I love it.
Whatever. I don't know. We weren't allowed to read those books. All right, so let's head to our boy Kinnear, who's shouting with Esposito, because Esposito shows up. Esposito's not a cop. Esposito has lawsuits against him. Esposito, by his own account, is hopped up on ketamine and a bunch of other drugs that he said I'd never heard of. That's how you know you're no longer hip, Tom. You don't know what drug lingo is. Why did they let this guy in? I like the chief's like, get out of the building, and then he's like, you know what? Be part of the investigation. Like, I love Leguizamo. I'm glad he's here. He is having so much fun in this role. He is losing his mind.
His dialogue is like, malfeasance abounded, and then he's like in the background he's doing jumping jacks. Like, it is just incredible. But again, to your point, why this guy is here? This just keeps screaming back to why. Like, it's this book. Like, this seems to me like something that would be written in a book of they're bringing this old cop buddy, detective or whatever, or partner back to help us save the crime. And he's so over the top for the sake of being over the top.
Right.
Is this part book too? Like, I don't know what to make of it.
It can't be book because they're listening to the book. It's like you can't have a book part while listening to a book part. That's way too meta.
It's Inception.
Inside where the snake is eating its tail. You know, we can't do all that.
I hope not, but I don't know.
I just feel bad for Dave. I know I'm not supposed to, but the idea of someone getting your raw book and just like listening to it and laughing about it is just like so like secondhand embarrassment that they would do that to him. But also Dave thinks his book's good, so maybe he's just happy for them to have an audience. But all of a sudden, cops are showing up because they're getting involved in this, and they're putting all this like circumstantial evidence in front of Harvey. Well, the cops don't show up yet. This is still Esposito, and now Michelle is in on. She's now all in on Dave being an arsonist, which they've kind of hinted at, but this is the one where she teams up with Esposito to go after Dave. And if you're going to have an ally, Esposito should not be your ally. That's all I'd like to say.
I tend to agree. And it takes Harvey a little bit of time here before he turns around, but he does. Like he's like, hey, I won't tell him. I'll get some sort of cool bricked off room for us to do this investigation, and we'll figure it out.
He's like, we're going off site. I've got a place off site off the books. And you're like, why? But I mean, you guys have coffee here. You've got chairs. What more do you need? And you're like, oh, we need somewhere for the takeout place to deliver, you know? I don't know. All right. We're with Dave in his investigation, which Dave is the only one doing his job. He's got out of the hospital. All of a sudden, he's like, he's been inspired to really find this arsonist. And so he ends up paying the evidence guy, which I did like how the show did this. It was like the cool guy, jurisdiction, and then it's like, nope, in real life, you just have to pay this guy in order to see the evidence bags, which leads him to the chicken tag or the rooster tag, whatever we're calling that.
Yeah, cockfighting for the win. But like the intro of this scene of him grabbing the dude and like slamming him to the counter is like, murder doesn't have a jurisdiction. It's just murder. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. I love this. I want more of this. I want the show to be 100% of this. But they play it off like it's just him like dream sequence kind of stuff. But yeah, it's got to be, this whole sequence stuff has got to be book.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, it's book until he has to pay real money to the guy. I did appreciate the evidence guy be like, hey, one more minute and the price doubles. I was like, oh, that's an incredible pricing structure, sir.
Smart.
Oh, man. All right. Off-site, everyone's looking for Dave, or everyone's suspecting Dave. And this is where the dream team gets together. We have Captain Steve showing up.
Yep.
We have Ezra Esposito, who has now not sobered up. He's still high as a kite, hanging out with all these people. And then we have Amy, who is the assistant to Vice President Selena Meyer. She shows up, and
Anna
she's
Klumsky,
ATF.
I believe. Yeah.
Oh, as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, she's great. If people haven't watched Veep, I mean, it's incredibly R-rated, but Veep the show is hilarious. Just
couldn't
great.
agree more. And it was so fun to see her kind of come in. And I feel like they bring her in you mentioned, an ATF, just essentially to move the plot along as quickly as possible because she has full jurisdiction, can cut through all the red tape. They can get everything tested immediately. They can make the phone calls, get the evidence reviewed. Like, I feel like it was just kind of a plot device, right?
Yeah, I just want to say this, Tom. When I'm watching Smoke, the inconsistencies for me are not like, oh, they wouldn't be able to do that because of jurisdiction. Jurisdiction in this show never comes to my mind. What comes to my mind is this real? Why is Dave Goodson insane? Like, why is strawberry the safe word? Like, I have so many other questions. Jurisdiction never would cross my mind in a show like this. But I appreciate that the writers were like, listen, the audience is going to have an issue with jurisdiction, so let's bring in an ATF person. You're like, that's so low on my list of inconsistencies.
Incredible.
All of them sitting around a room listening to Dave's book, which he hasn't written. How do they have the audiobook? I bring this to you. How do they have the audiobook, Tom?
They apparently got it from Emmett, right? Didn't like Emmett airdrop it to Calderone?
But when you write a book, you don't do the audiobook. It's like you write the full book, you get it published or whatever, and then they do an audiobook. Like, all this would be his like writing ideas. And so but they play it like it's an audiobook. It drives me crazy.
It's definitely needed for the show-ism. They can't be all hanging around a table with their own manuscript of this book.
That would be great. Funny if they were all just reading, like just silently flipping through pages. That would be great. All right. So while they're all hanging out, Goodson calls in. And I love Harvey trying to ad-lib. It was great. Give me more Kinnear. Kinnear's just doing lovely work.
He's
that
great.
Mustache and his whole thing. And he's just not very good much like I'm doing a poor job of, is speaking into something off the cuff. That's what he struggles with.
He's got to work on his yes-anding.
Yes, exactly. Do you want to do the line about fish that gets played during this?
I think like it was either before or after this, but like he's on the phone with them on speaker, and then another phone goes off in the room, and Calderone tries to cover for it, like, hey, just walked into the room. But like it's certainly making Dave suspect. Like,
right.
He's thinking like, hey, what's going on here? But it fits so well with his line that he reads from the book. It's like, baits for fish, and I'm not a fish. So good.
I love that the writers have fun with his book. Like,
yes,
it's
100%.
It's a good time. I wish they'd made the show based on that book. Which they did in a way. It's hurting my head. All right, Goodson eventually chases this lead, and he gets a video of Freddy. And the intercut with this is our dream team. We've finally come around to the DNA on that fire starter from that Calderone did so much work to find, and they seemingly just left it be. And so now with the ATF, with now like some more juice, we get to go run the DNA. And so I appreciate that they bring it back. The fact that it doesn't pay off, I think, is hilarious because the show is
all
like,
that work.
Hey, we didn't forget about it. But, oh, by the way, it's not going to lead to anything. So you're welcome, audience.
Yeah, big bummer. I felt bad for Calderone in this moment.
Yeah. There is also in this go-between where, like, Esposito tries to be like, oh, I'll make some calls, and then quickly finds out no one likes him. And so then, like, Harvey I don't know. We're watching these people make phone calls, and Harvey's great. Esposito's insane. All of this doesn't make any sense as to why these people are in a room together. They're all just eating takeout. I was like, all right, show, great. All these actors are just like, I can't believe I got paid for this. This is insane.
Yeah, the takeout thing was funny too. It's like they probably filmed it without them eating, and they're like, we need them to do something with their hands, so we're gonna make them eat.
Yeah, they did a great job eating on screen. I hope they did 100 takes. Let's cut to Ferry. Let's cut to Freddy.
Freddy at the Ferris wheel.
At the Ferris wheel, I got there. He's just hanging around, burning stuff as an arson does. He burns his Coop's handbook. He burns his Coop's, how to light the fryer. I don't know. And then I guess he burns a bunch of cash and then the evidence of his birth, which it's like, Freddy, how are people going to know you're alive, man? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they still do keep digital copies, so I'm not sure what that really does. But yeah, the fact that you see him burning cash and everything else is like the guy's at the end of his rope, and he's probably suicidal right at this point.
I didn't need this scene to know that Freddy's at the end of his rope. Freddy's been at the end of his rope since he didn't get the Mr. Manager job. I got it. The show's like, how many more things can we burn? Anyways... I found the whole him wandering around the amusement park leading up to Jeff showing up. I found all that a little bit. It kind of takes you out of the rest of what's happening, but it led to the right place at the end of the episode. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Goodson finally gets Freddy's name. Freddy Faison, I believe, is his full name, and realizes through the woman at the office that Freddy had applied to be Mr. Manager, and that HR guy is the one that's killed. I like that the HR person he talks to, she's like, he shouldn't have applied. It was a joke. And Goodson, stands up for him. And it's like, Goodson, for one, you've never met Freddy. If you had met Freddy, you know he's not Mr. Manager material. Just because he's not a very good communicator. Nothing other than that. Failure to communicate, you need to communicate as a Mr. Manager. That's all.
Yeah, and I don't even know who this lady was. It wasn't even the one that did the pre-screening or whatever. I guess she just knows every applicant. So good for her.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. She's about as involved as every HR person is not involved in real life. All right. Goodson. Oh, I did not understand this, Tom, and I think we need to talk about it in depth. As we cut back to the Dream Team, they are talking about all of these fires that were set, and that Goodson, on his way back from the convention, set these fires. We only saw one fire, right? In the yarn store. Were there several fires that happened that the show didn't tell us about, but is now just telling us about down route, whatever he says, 95? What happened here?
It seemed very yada yada, because all we have is him driving past and then kind of smiling to camera and then not even looking at the fire. I guess, did he go into the back room, light the fire, get back in his car and go? Because you would imagine you have footage of his vehicle stopping. You had footage of his vehicle driving by.
Right.
You figured you'd follow that car and see what it did. But I'm with you. They very much yada yada at all these multiple fires. I don't know if these were previous fires from months prior that happened to be on his route to this convention. I don't know.
How often is this convention happening? They're every month, the arsonist investigators get together. Every month down that route, someone starts a fire. If he's just driving down a road and fires are starting behind him, I don't know that I'd want to mess with Dave Goodson. He has some sort of dark magic that no one knows about, where he can combust things with his brain as he drives. I don't believe that's a person that you should make enemies with. In fact, you should be their ally and take over the kingdom. That's what I think.
We did discuss at the beginning, this could be a Human Torch situation. This could be his origin story.
That's fair. Darn you, DC Universe, for invading my Apple TV shows. Curse you. All right, let's go to... I still don't understand that whole... But what I think is interesting is they keep fighting with Chief being and Chief's it's all circumstantial. It's all circumstantial. And I don't want to jump to it yet, but then the piece of evidence that gets the Chief to buy in is so strange and flimsy that you're what? I almost thought, I was oh, Chief's the arsonist, because what he's doing is not making any sense right now.
Yes.
All right, let's hop to Freddy at the carnival. He's talking to Jeff, or not really Jeff, but Jeff's man, that new manager is really mean to me. And he's like, yeah, it's rough having a guy tell you to do your job and asking where your friend's at. And then Freddy's like, hey, my solution to everything is burn down that guy's house. And this is where Jeff realizes that maybe Freddy burned down the HR guy's house. And rather than leaving, is like, hey, let's continue to crush beers in this abandoned amusement park. This is awesome. You're a great friend, Freddy.
It got awkward pretty quick. And my wife had the comment, it's like, do you abandon or amusement parks? Like, is that a thing? Is this like off season? You figured the amusement park would still be running in some form or fashion because it looked like decent condition. And wasn't Freddy even going around the carousel at one point?
I have no idea. Every amusement park I go to is set up that day and was on the freeway earlier.
Exactly.
So I won't go to one that's established in the ground. I only want to go to one that was bolted in like 3 hours before. Anyways, all right. Dev, the manager, gets to meet Goodson. They talk about Freddy. I don't know why this scene is here. The show's just like, hey, Goodson is an actual good investigator. He's getting closer and closer to Freddy. And you're like, great. All of this was like putting Goodson in a situation where someone could talk bad about Freddy and Dave would be like, oh, really? He was that bad? Or why didn't you like him? And you're like, well, Dave, you haven't met Freddy. So please, like, cut these people some slack because he definitely burned a guy's house down and killed him and his wife. So Freddy, not a great dude.
Yeah, you're looking for an arsonist. You got to imagine the dude's got a couple screws loose.
Yeah, exactly. All right, this is where they let us know the DNA was inconclusive. Great. They linger on the chief here for a little while, and I was like, oh, what are we trying to say about the chief? I'm really confused as to what they're trying to do with Kinnear's character. I love him. I hope he's great. But there's some things that happen in this episode where I felt like the show was trying to, like, which the show doesn't do anything subtly, trying to be like, hey, maybe the chief is an arsonist. I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But like all of this, like this entire episode goes so incredibly fast of like Dave taking this one string of evidence and getting all the way to the end and capturing Freddy. And the chief here is conservatively, there's been 5 hours of investigation, and he's like, "You guys have nothing. I'm not going to listen to this anymore." Give it some time. Like, let's have some conversations. Let's do some tales. Like, he jumps to this conclusion so quickly, and then this is where we get this whole Stapaccio kind of conversation that is apparently the Achilles heel of him saying, "Oh, it's got to be him." Like, what?
Yeah, this is so from the book. We hear the kid in the book that dies in a fire, based on a real fire, call Pistachio Stapaccio. And this is a detail that the chief is the only one that could have possibly heard. And he's like, there's no way Dave could have known that. And then Calderon goes, unless he was there. And I was like, no, there's definitely, like, the chief and Dave get drunk together a lot. Like, there's definitely a point where the chief is like mourning the loss of that kid and then is like, hey, you know, a detail I've held on about is like the kid called, I don't know. I learned that about the kid. So that was part of me like, oh, I don't know why the chief would defend Dave, and then throw like suspicion on him if the chief is the arson. I've given this show way too much thought. I'm giving it way too much credit, essentially.
Well, you talk about circumstantial evidence. Like, this is nothing. I mean,
this one definitely holds up in court.
Yeah, he's so incredibly convinced by it, but it is nothing. I do want to give a shout out to Anthony, one of the detectives or ATF people that's in this room, whose only job seems to be pressing pause and play on the audiobook in the background. He's doing a great job.
No, Tom. He's got like headphones on, but only one over one ear. He's the audio visual guy, you know? He's the only one that knows how to play Audible or whatever.
Yeah. He's the AV tech. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's incredible. Give him all of the Emmys. All right, let's get creepy for a moment.
Please.
Our boy Jeff, who's not really named Jeff, is trying to leave because he's super creeped out by Freddy. And Freddy's like, hey, have you ever discovered dead mice at work? What do you do to them? And I was like, bro, this is not the conversation I want to have with you. I either want to go on the Ferris wheel or I want to go home. Those are the two things I want to do. What
like
is happening here?
Freddie doing that shout of like, or what to him was like terrifying. Like seeing Freddie be a lot more like even keel and just creepy, but seeing him like explode in this manner to our boy Jeff was awesome in terms of just how terrifying him as a character was.
I felt like he hung out with T. Eggy one day, and the actor was like, oh, I'm going to go big like T. Eggy does. And so he decided to yell in this. I didn't understand why Not Named Jeff gave up his phone and keys. Like, stop giving Freddie your stuff. Like, you can say no.
I would argue you could probably outrun this guy. Yeah.
I would argue you could beat him up. Like, if it came to violence, if you guys threw down, like, I think guy Not Named Jeff would take him, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe what did Freddie do to those beers? We don't know.
Oh, man. Oh, that's fair. Well, this guy is 6 tall boys in, so maybe he's not thinking clearly. This whole, like, Freddie following him, I did not know what was happening. I thought he was going to get murdered. Like, that's how the show does it. But then, like, everything in this show, they're like, nope, he's just going to disappear.
I was like, as this was happening, I was like, oh, please do the Batman thing where Freddie disappears in the background and the show does not disappoint and he completely disappears after the camera just tilts slightly. And I can't help but think Freddie's just hiding behind a bush.
Right.
Just slightly out of camera.
No, he's just face down on the ground, like in a plank, and the camera just kind of looks down. And Jeff's like, I can see you, man. Oh, it was great.
But again, that goes back to like the bookisms, right? Like this is something Dave Goodson has seen in 1,000 movies, so he's writing it in the book.
Right.
Like, yeah.
I wanted every time they cut to show over Jeff's shoulder, Freddie was just a little bit closer, just like cut, little closer, cut, little closer, and then back him off, like just really confuse our drunk friend Jeff.
It did go on a while.
Oh, it went on forever, Tom. Okay. Speaking of things that went on forever but ended when he was 19, Freddie was in foster care. This is all sad. We find out that Freddie left foster care at 19, but he dodged a bullet because the house he was in burned down 6 months later. And this
He didn't dodge a bullet. He was the bullet.
Goodson has so many good lines in this. Like, I cannot. Oh, man. Oh,
Incredible.
Tom,
Incredible.
I don't think we all live our lives like as well as T. Eggy is living his life in this show.
Only Vin Diesel and T. Eggy live their life a quarter mile at a time.
It's all about family, mi familia. My wife did the math when they were talking about when Freddie left foster care and like what the year was and how old he was. My wife was like,
my wife did the math on the birth certificate. We paused on the birth certificate to see he was born in 82.
Freddie's how old? Conservatively thought he was 85 years old, if I'm being honest. Oh man, that guy's lived a rough life. I shouldn't. He's not real, so it doesn't really matter. But anyways,
I did, by the way, like watch a quick interview of the actor who plays Freddy, and he's just seeing him as a normal human being and talking like very eloquently. It was like so off-putting because I only know him as this creepy, weird Freddy with like those, like I don't know, like creepy teeth or whatever that he has, always keeping his mouth open.
Yeah,
like,
the way he hangs his jaw down and kind of pushes. I can't imagine. I will once the show's done, but I don't want to ruin Freddy. Once Freddy's killed, then is removed from the show. Once he dies from whatever inhaling fire extinguisher chemical.
The anti-fire.
Yeah, anti-fire. Oh man, he'll never be able to blow out another birthday candle. All right. Actually, no, he'd be the best at blowing up birthday candles because he has all that halon in his lungs. All right. Speaking of people that have things in their lungs, let's cut to Sad Chief, who's just drinking alone in his house, punching pictures. I didn't know what was happening here. Yeah.
I thought, like, when they showed the picture, I thought it'd be kind of cool if the picture that we saw on the wall was like the reflection we saw of Dave earlier, where he's a little bit more, like, disheveled looking and not quite as handsome, but it doesn't. So again, I don't know what to think. If he has a picture in his house and Harvey is a real character, then this is the Tiegi that we have to assume is the one that he sees as well. So that was kind of weird they did that.
Right. And he's now got a bloody hand that his daughter shows up to bandage. I was like, all right, TV, thanks. when are we going to go to the wedding and the lake house? That's what I thought was going to get brought up again, but it was not. I'm still waiting.
We got 3 episodes.
I'm
We're
still
good.
waiting for the lake house to burn down. That's where the climactic scene in this show happens, Tom. Mark my word. The lake house,
agreed.
which is made of entirely reclaimed wood, which goes up like a tinderbox. All right. I did not appreciate this. This show has brought up this kid dying in this fire in real life, and a show like this should not, like, if you're going to be a half comedy, and by half comedy I mean unintentionally a half comedy, you should not be able to try and dig this deep to like get the audience to feel. I felt like this was a cheap TV ploy, and I did not appreciate it. But Kinnear, who's earning his SAG card here, does a great job. And then he brings up, like, I don't understand how Dave could be the arsonist. Like, when the mom looked at her dead kid and was, like, unconsolable, he was able to console her and was very, like, human with her. And so this is, like, his doubt creeping as to whether or not Dave really is the arson. But, so I don't know where we were supposed to land on this, but I don't like when shows are like, hey, audience, you want to feel something? We're going to talk about a dead kid. I don't like it.
I almost feel like this moment was like set up to call back, I think, to the end of the episode where, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but like Dave looks at like Brenda and says like, you're safe now. I think Harvey says that in this story too, where he kind of tells the mom like, you're safe now, or something to that ilk. And it just kind of reminds, it's like essentially echoing that Dave, what he's saying in the book and happens at the end of this episode is what Harvey is recounting in this story, of him trying to be kind of a good man or a good guy at the end of all this.
Right. That makes sense. We cut to Goodson. He's broken in to Freddy's place. This guy, man, I'm worried about jurisdiction, Tom. Does he have the jurisdiction to go? I mean, I'd like to talk about jurisdiction for a little while. I think the scariest thing that anyone's ever done in this entire show is gone into Freddy's Google search history. I got to be honest. That the bravest man ever looks into that search history and discovers what's been looked at. That's
a lot
where
of junk mail. A lot of junk mail in there.
I was more scared by that than the closet full of gas containers, if I'm being honest.
That's fair. I'm with you.
Oh, man. He's like, why doesn't he just call the police right then and there? Why? Why is so much evidence going off like on his own? Is it because he's suspecting that the police are like onto him, so he's got to do this on his own?
But it doesn't make any sense because we've set up this whole series to be there's 2 arsonists. So like even if you feel like they're suspecting you, it doesn't change the fact that this is also still another arsonist that you are looking after. I mean, the whole episode is just kind of paralleling like how Freddy is going about like his arsonist stuff and how Dave is like handling this situation. So there's parallels between how like both of these characters are acting, and maybe that's the part of the namesake of the episode in Manhood. But I would argue the last scene that we get is probably more aligned with the episode title.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about that last scene. I'm super excited, Tom. All right. From Freddy's house, we just find the connection where he finds the hairdresser's card, and therefore I'm assuming a home address, which leads to something. But very quickly, I want to cut into the most unnecessary scene of the whole show, which is Calderon coming home. Her brother's on the step. We've already established that Calderon hates her mom, doesn't want her mom to get out of jail, like went to the parole hearing to say, I don't want this woman free. The brother on the steps, not knowing how to read a room, is like, hey, guess what? Mom's coming home. I knew you'd love that news. And you're just like, what is happening, show? Like, people don't miscommunicate this poorly, do they? Really? This is something you hide from your sibling, not celebrate on their porch.
Yeah, and like, I mean, his sentiment is just like, hey, just get over mom trying to seemingly burn you alive when you were a kid. Like, Get over it. We've all gotten over it. Figure it out. Like, and like, again, I love Jurnee Smollett here. Like, her acting is incredible, and we don't get enough of her in this episode. But yeah, I mean, outside of just setting up future episodes where she's going to come back and they're going to have to confront this and probably find out more about her haunted past, I don't get this scene. And her brother's a creep and a jerk.
Yeah. So here's what I've decided on that. So what we've seen of her as a child, she's in the closet, someone's outside and lights a fire, and she's hiding, right? And then she exits during the fire, and then someone gets shot in front of her, correct?
I think somebody like locks her in that closet. I don't think she's like running away. But
Okay.
yes, the other bits of it, yes.
Is someone pops a red balloon and she gets splattered with all the inside of the balloon. So we're assuming someone gets shot. So my now thought is, because of the way the family's reacting, is maybe she's not the person that started the fire or locked her in the closet. She's the person that came in and killed that whoever the person was, and then Calderon just doesn't see that as like her being. Because there was a comment made at one point where they were like, your mom thought she was saving you, which I find that curious as to how you would save someone by lighting a room on fire and locking them in the closet. But
well, it could have been the dad, right? The dad started the fire. The mom comes
Right.
in. The mom shoots the dad, and yeah, she sees the aftermath of that, not knowing that maybe the dad started the fire.
Sure, yeah. If the show does that, the show's done a poor job executing that storyline, because
Yeah.
I'm not going to be relieved like that Calderon shouldn't be mad at her mom. Once again, I don't care about that, and I don't care about jurisdiction. I just want that on the record.
Noted.
Tom, let's go to the
Sustained.
best scene. Thank you. Let's go to the best scene of the whole episode, really, of the whole year. In this year of our Lord, 2025, this was incredible. Brenda's in her house. There's gasoline all over the floor. She just walks through it. Do you know how bad gasoline smells? Like, do you know
goodness.
how noticeable the smell? First
That was
off,
my
also,
first.
gasoline is clear. Whatever's in these jugs, someone said maybe it was fry oil. It's definitely gasoline, right? That's what we've been told this whole time, that he
Yeah,
fills
one
it
of
up with
our-
gasoline.
Yeah, one of our listeners reached out, and I think I responded saying, like, I think it's maybe a mixture of both, because it seems like there is like something kind of settling on top. So maybe one is like the fire starter, the next is the accelerant. I don't know. But I had the first inclination. Like, Brenda steps in the gasoline carpet and then has the realization, like, oh, I've got a wet floor. But the first thing you would do if you open up that house would be smelling all of this gasoline. And I would argue you probably shouldn't go into that house.
Right. You light a match, you throw the match in to burn off all the gasoline. And then once it's burned it off, you then enter the house. Everyone knows it's how you deal with propane. It's how you deal with gasoline. You light a match to make sure the air is cleared, or the match will pretty quickly clear the air for you. I just wrote down Brenda should definitely run. There's like 100
Yes.
times where Brenda should run. I feel like the show is trying to pitch us this like Brenda feels bad for Freddy and like wants to help him. But I just want to say there is a certain point where you cannot help people and you should just run so that you are safe.
Agreed. And she even like tries to get up off the carpet and like sit on the dresser, like that's going to help her. Like, yeah, just run, lady, run.
Oh, yeah, I did appreciate that. She's like, the fire won't reach me here, 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Good luck, Freddy.
I do want to make
Go
mention
ahead.
here, though. So, like, yeah, as Freddy's talking and giving this whole monologue to her, he keeps talking. Is he referring to Brenda kind of as his foster mom? Like, says Miss Yolanda or something like that?
Yes,
Is that
that
what you
was
got?
my
Okay.
understanding, is that
Okay.
he sees her as a like maternal figure, and so he's reverting back to, now that we know he was a foster kid, the show has to like make us know that he knows he was a foster kid, and you're
Right.
like, great. And he doesn't like people laughing, Tom.
And he does, yeah. So he does this bit about, like, I went to a movie. Oh, recently? No, just once. But about everybody laughing at the movie, but he didn't find any of it funny. And I would ask you, what movie do you think Freddy was watching where everybody's laughing, but he didn't get it?
He
I'll say-
definitely go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll give you mine to give you some time to think. I'm assuming it's Borat. He
Okay.
sees this guy just living his life, having a good time, being very straight and honest with people, but he doesn't get the humor behind it.
Okay. Yeah. I want to say that he went to, I don't know, There Will Be Blood, something like that. And he was like, oh,
Comedy.
Paul Thomas Anderson's known for being, or maybe he went to Boogie Nights. That's what he went to. He went to Boogie Nights. He was like, why is everyone laughing? These guys are artists making true art that I
That's
like
so
to look
true.
up on my computer. So I'm going to say he
That's a
went to
good one.
Boogie Nights and didn't
I like that one.
understand. The other one would be Backdraft, but that would be too on the nose and not necessarily a comedy. All right. Freddy's about to light him up. I love Zippos, Tom. I don't know if you know this about me. I think a Zippo is one of the coolest inventions in the world. And
Yeah, one of our sponsors.
I would love if Zippo would sponsor us, but I wish I had one out that I could click at you, but I don't. Anyways, Freddy's about to light them all up with his Zippo, and Dave Goodson comes in. And the way this is shot would be like if Goodson was writing the book. So
Yes.
we don't know. I'm assuming this is real, right? This is real. And because they show us certain details that he wouldn't write in the book unless he was an insane person. But he comes in, realizes that there's probably all this gas vapor in the air. So instead of shooting, he drops the magazine, throws the gun, which is great, and then uses the fire extinguisher on Freddy. 10 out of 10, loved every bit of this. Just great.
Freddy actually clicks the lighter that starts to fire, and then he puts it out, and then essentially puts Freddy out in a large amount of fire extinguisher juice, whatever it is. I don't know.
I don't think it's called fire extinguisher juice.
I think it is. I think that's a technical term. But yeah, how do you watch this and not assume this is book? There's just no way this is real life. I cannot believe it.
He gets so excited, Tom. He's just a stand-up guy. He's very excited about being the hero. He gets to give the one line to Brenda, and the show is like, they give you two cuts. They zoom in on his excitement, and then it cuts away, and then it cuts back, because my spouse did not catch the first cut, but definitely caught the second one and was like, what? And I was like, you and me both. We're all confused here as to why he's so excited.
Yeah, this is calling back, I guess, to the previous 2 episode titles in Size Matters and Manhood, which was kind of off-putting.
So this guy, because we've seen him, they have talked about how in normal moments where one would get excited, he does not. So we are then suggesting that the only thing that gets this guy excited is putting down arsonists, literally covering them in fire extinguisher juice. What is going on here?
Yeah, it's the opposite of when he was having the little extramarital affair with his ex-wife. Had problems there, but this is where it gets him excited.
All she needed to do was light the side table on fire and let him throw water on it, and then they would have been good to go, I'm assuming.
That's what she did to Strawberry Lady, right?
That's a good point. Fire is the only thing that gets him excited. All right, I'm done talking about his excitement. I thought this was so strange, and for a show that was talking about a dead kid 10 minutes earlier, don't then do this show. That's weird and off-putting.
Yes.
Anyways, I loved everything about it.
After talking through it, it's so much better.
I'm so excited to watch the next episode. Tom, do you have any final thoughts on this one?
I don't. Yeah, outside of what we kind of talked about, I just don't know what's real anymore. I'm still having fun.
Do you think Goodson's an arsonist? Let me ask you this. Do you think Goodson is an arsonist? In your heart of hearts, deep down, in your groin, Tom, do you think Goodson's an arsonist?
If I had to say now, I would still say yes.
Okay. I'm going no. I think they are laying it on so thick in such a way that it's a no. Now, how they explain it away won't make any sense. There's going to be a ton of plot holes. But I think they are trying to do something here where he is not. But yeah, I'm excited.
I don't disagree.
Honestly, I'm going to stick this show out just because I'm excited to find out what they were doing and why.
Agreed. I think if you've come this far on the journey, you have to finish it.
Oh yeah.
I could see punching out after the first 2 or 3 maybe, but if you've come this far, we got 3 episodes left. Let's do this.
Yeah. All right. For those of you that are still hanging with us on this one, you can reach us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. You literally can just send us an email that says Goodson is an arsonist or Goodson is not an arsonist. I'd love to get a poll on who thinks this guy is bad and who thinks he's good. I may be way off base here. For those of you that are listening, we would very much appreciate if you'd go on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a rating as long as it's a nice one, leave us a review. It does help us out, and we would love to continue making this outstanding product and watch more shows like Smoke that come out on Apple and don't get advertised. So, Tom, what did I miss?
Agreed. Yeah, just to reiterate, drop us a review. We'll try to, if you do it soon, and while we're still recording on the Smoke podcast, we'll maybe read some of them on air, as long as they're nice. If you give us a 1-star review, then you can just jog on. But follow us on the social medias at Team Binge or at Team Binge Podcast. We're on all the major ones. Let us know what you think of the show, and I'm excited for more, man. I didn't think I'd say it, but I'm excited for more.
I'm pumped. I'm so pumped. Now that I know that Amy from the VP Selena Meyer's office is showing up, I'm super excited.
She's on the case.
Yeah. For Team Binge, I have been Julian.
And I have been Tom. Till next week, everybody.